My good people, lend me your imagination. It's the most precious thing you own, and we will use it to play a game of imagine. The game will take place inside a writer's mind. A writer's mind is many things. It can be a galaxy, a winding maze, or a stretch of nothing with only a soft breeze blowing. It's a doorway that you can go through anytime. Let's choose our own adventure and open one of these doors. But there are rules to remember beforehand. As the creator, you cannot speak to anyone you see behind the door or ever interfere in the storyline. The writer is the master, the slave, and the guiding light. They bring characters into existence, and by so doing, they write themselves into existence. You will be asked to help me to weave these stories through your answers. Are you ready to play this game?
Yes.
I said, are you ready to play this game?
Yes.
Then come. Let's see what's on the other side. You step through the door. What do you see? What room do you see? You create a room with hardly any light. The air smells dusty and stale. This room is below ground, a basement, or a storage room of some kind. There are old things everywhere. Battered cardboard boxes, old suitcases, a plastic bag full of old toys, a rusted fan that doesn't work anymore. Everything is covered in dust, a lot of dust. This is a room that no one has been into for a very long time. There is a woman in the room. She stands in front of an open leather trunk, a massive one, large enough to fit a human being inside. This is exactly what the trunk contains, the body of a dead woman. In fact, it can barely be called that, more like remains. Dry bones, wispy hair falls over the corpse's face. The living woman sinks to her knees with a soft cry. An animal sound, like a wounded animal, comes out of her mouth. She knows this dead woman. Who is this woman? Who is she? What is the woman wearing? A red dress, okay. Why was the woman murdered and stuffed in the trunk?
Because she slept with a woman's husband.
That's good. I've just shown you how to ideascape. Once upon a time, there was a girl called me. It was the 1980s. My parents called me princess, and Liberia was my kingdom. I was growing up in what I thought was the most perfect, peaceful, wonderful country in the world. I know, you should have seen the Jerry curls we had back then. Mostly, I worked by the three constants of Hawa. I wanted rice for every meal, breakfast, lunch, supper. I always had to roam free and wild with my cousins, because this was the most fun time I would ever have. Number three was, although I was tiny, you should never mess with me. When I was in the 3rd grade, a little boy pushed me to the ground on the playground. I fell very hard, I scraped my face, sand got in my mouth. I was livid. I told my cousin, my partner in crime, and we had a plan to exact revenge on this little boy. Now, my father is a doctor, and he had a standard black medical bag that all doctors have, and his one rule for that bag was never touch this bag. And we didn't disobey, but that day, there were greater things at stake. So when we got home from school, I snuck into my parents' bedroom, I opened the bag, I took out a syringe with a needle attached. Now, we had no real evil intent, we had no idea what we were doing. It was simple fun. But first, I wanted to try it out on myself. This is the rule of all mad scientists. You always try things out on yourself. But the second that needle came near my skin, I stopped. This felt like a very bad idea. So my cousin and I wandered into the backyard, which was always wild, with willing subjects. We would definitely find something here. And we did. Sitting on a patch of wet grass, minding its own frog business, was a huge bullfrog. So we quickly caught it, we injected it with that needle full of nothing, and we set it loose. Part one of the plan was in motion. That frog would mutate into something weird and wonderful, and we would... I never found out what part two of the plan was. What do you think happened to Froggy? Can't make it. That's true. The next day, we found Mr. Bullfrog frozen in mid-hop, exactly where we left him. Interrupting the blood flow of any living creature is fatal, and the frog had died instantly. I was horrified. But I hate to say it, I was also excited. The young scientist had met the budding writer. My imagination had its first story. After the war, my life turned upside down. My old reality from Liberia vanished. I lost items precious to me. The comic strip that I drew in 3rd and 4th grade and sold it to my friends for 25 cents for every read. The black and white speckled notebook where I wrote down all my ideas. But it felt so trivial and selfish to remember these things. I still love to write my own stories, but I still couldn't see the direction that life was pointing me in, which was the direction of a storyteller. For one thing, we ended up in Frankfurt, West Africa, in Togo. I was terrified of going to a French school. I'm a communicator. How could I manage in a whole other language? I had only ever learned basic French in school. But somehow, I not only managed, but I picked up the language well enough to make friends and get a little bit popular. Then there was boarding school in Ghana, another new world. I survived by doing the other girls' homework and reading to them during study class. Unlike before, I didn't get any reward. In boarding school, not being beaten up every day is the only reward you can hope for. In high school, my family moved to Southern Africa, to Zimbabwe. I had become, by then, a mini entertainment center. Every day, I had a really thick book. And as we sat down to break time, my friends would ask me, "Hawa, what are you reading today?" We would never read that book. And so I would tell them that book in installments. Every break time, every day, whether it was sports period and the sports mistress was too lazy to teach us any sports, I would spin them that tale. Now I know what you're thinking. Why on God's green earth did you become a medical scientist? It was crystal clear that storytelling was your path. Well, reason number one, I'm the smartest dumb person I know. I'm actually proud of that. That's how you make mistakes in life. And you should always embrace your mistakes, because that's how you learn and that's how you progress. Number two, African families. Being an artist, to be honest, is not a profession that African families gel with. It doesn't make any money. Doctor, lawyer, banker, take your pick. Every one of us has that uncle who's a musician in a club, who's an artist, and the whole family makes the space when they're talking about it behind his back. Look at him, making music in the devil's house. I could be a rebel when I wanted to, but I did not want to be Uncle Devil. Number three, I actually love science, and I still do. I wasn't forced into it, although I was a little bit coerced by my teacher, who gave me the whole speech about women in science careers, and I was hooked. So I grew up. But the more grown up I became, the harder it was to deny my unhappiness. I lived with this ache inside, and it had morphed into a hole that didn't make sense. I was blessed. The blessed should be too ashamed to complain. I had escaped a war-torn country with my immediate family. Other people didn't have that. I didn't love my chosen careers, but I did well. It paid the bills. And I was living in Cape Town, one of the most beautiful cities in the world. But simple has never been my portion. So I made a tough, crazy choice. I decided to choose one of the things that I could always deeply enjoy and pursue that thing as a career. I would save up every dime I had for 1 year, leave science, and I would retrain in that area. I made a list of everything that I had enjoyed in my younger days, and the list didn't go as I planned. Some things I had to give up on immediately. I was never going to be, as much as I wanted to, the first queen of Africa. I was never going to be RoboCop. In fact, I found out that I couldn't even be a regular cop. You have to be a citizen in a country to do that, and I wasn't. So it came down to two things. I could be a chef or a writer. Chef training is very expensive, especially in Cape Town. But I love to cook. Writing was it a job? Did Black people do this? How many African writers below the age of 50, before Chinua Achebe, could I name? I hadn't written for fun in years, but writing was free. And I had an idea for a story that had been burning me inside out for over a year. So I wrote it. And the rest, as they say, is science fiction. Within 4 years, that story had gotten me nominated for 3 major awards. And as I stand here now, in 7 years, I've won 2 major prizes, and I'm the only woman in Liberia who did it. I became an author for many reasons. To disrupt the common narrative that Africans don't read, that we can't be trusted to tell our own story, that an acceptable path will fulfill you, that women can't write crime or fantasy or horror stories, that the disabled, which I consider myself, cannot do much with their lives. I am beyond a survivor. I am beyond a superwoman. I'm a super weapon. To write is to solve your own existence. And telling awesome stories is one of Africa's finest solutions. We live in an age of reimagining and renaissance. So it's time that we act our age. So finally, let's head back to that woman in the dark room. Who is she? What's her story? How does it end? I don't know. Not yet, anyway. But this crowd has helped me put together the plot for my next book. You too are a writer, you see. So now you tell me, what's your imagination up to? Thank you.